Hello, welcome to the Change with Him Real Raw Redeemed podcast. I love saying that if you can't tell. Well, if you can't, now you can because you've just heard me and I've just told you. But isn't it funny that even though we are told things and we hear things, we don't always connect with them, we don't always experience them, and we don't always believe them. And that's my goal with this podcast, is to take you on a deeper journey and dive into hearing, believing, feeling, and experiencing the power, the mercy, the presence of God's love. I fully and firmly, and those are all caps, bolded, not italicized, because I just like when they're big and bold, believe that to be true. That anything you're trying to call into your life has to be called in from a place of pure love, of pure trust, of pure belief, and pure faith. And today we're going to be talking about faith over fear. I was making my morning coffee and this just came to me. Faith over fear. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. You totally see that on Etsy t-shirts. Like, what a cute thing. But I was like, no, it's not just a cute Etsy t-shirt. There's power. There's something here. And so I saw the letters in my mind's eye. Does that ever happen to you? You see something and you're like, yeah, that's cute. Yeah. And you kind of just browse right by it or right over it. Faith over fear, totally. And I actually have this shirt that I got like from one of those Chinese shops online. It's like $2. The quality is horrible. But it says faith in really pretty font, and like the T looks like a cross. And I'm like, huh. And a vision of that shirt came into my mind. I haven't worn it in a while because it's like got those weird balls on it from when you wash it and dry it because it's such cheap, thin quality. But I was like, oh, Faith, what a nice shirt. I got it a couple years ago. So an image of that came to my mind, and faith over fear. And I was reading a book about the power of faith and how nothing stands between man, not man, nothing stands between man and his highest ideals and every desire of his heart, but doubt and fear. And I thought, fuck doubt and fear. And if you've ever listened to Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, it's so good. Talks about the power of the unconscious mind. And that's really what the devil is. That is what the enemy is. I don't even like the word devil. I mean, it is in the Bible, but I like enemy. And I used to think the narcissist is the devil. The narcissist is my enemy. And I had this experience and journey of really coming to a relationship with God, with divine, with creator, through the experience I had with the past emotional abusers and the past narcissists. And I was led to this spiritual path and this manifestation path. And I want everything that I want in life. And I want them to not have everything they want in life because they're assholes and they don't deserve it. And I'm reading books like this that say nothing stands between man and his highest ideals and every desire of his heart. And I thought, I want every desire in my heart. And it says, but doubt and fear. And I thought, fuck, how do you get rid of doubt and fear? That's the enemy. And Outwitting the Devil talked about that. And that is actually the enemy that's within. The enemy that's within our unconscious mind is anything that we desire. Ooh, hello, fear. Hello, doubt. I can't have that. I'm not worthy. I'm undeserving. My friend, if you read the Bible, it talks about ask and it will be given to you, that you are deserving of abundance. You are deserving of blessing. You are deserving of God's mercy, love, and grace. I'm like, oh God, this is overwhelming. Wait a minute. So there's me, man, right? Man, woman, and then there's my highest ideals and every desire of my heart. Okay, I get that. There's me, there's every desire of my heart. I want it all, right? I want it all. I want it now. Don't we live in that type of culture and society? I want every desire in my heart. And then I realized, well, I'm not living in it. Oh, nothing stands between man and every desire of his heart, but doubt and fear. And I thought, well, ain't that the truth? Okay. Fear and doubt. How do we get them out? When man can wish without worrying, every desire will be instantly fulfilled. And I would read things like this in spiritual books, and I'm like, yeah, but that's just wishful thinking. That's just hopeful wishing. That's just when you wish upon a star. Like, how often do we how often do we she shooting stars? Try to say that 10 times fast. Not very often, right? They seem rare. They seem few, far between. They seem like something we've heard about, but we've never actually seen or experienced. And even if we had and we made a wish on it, did that wish come true? Right? So we feel like we live in fairy tale la la land, Disneyland, and we know how expensive it is and how not very often we're there. We don't live there, we visit there. And so it seems like these are just concepts that we visit, that we don't live with. And I thought, I want to live with this type of stuff. So it goes on to say, man's only enemy is fear. I thought, okay, tell me more, because I thought, well, I have an enemy, and his not going to mention his first name on this podcast, but I've got some enemies, right? And if man's only enemy is fear, I'm like, tell me more, tell me more. Did you get very far? Fear of lack. Oh, okay. Now you're speaking truth. Now you're speaking things that I don't want to hear, because the truth will set you free. And you can't handle the truth, right? It's man's only enemy, fear. Fear of lack, fear of failure, fear of sickness, fear of loss, and a feeling of insecurity on some plane. Oh, fuck, you're speaking to me. Who is this not speaking to? I'm like, what do we do? Jesus Christ said, "Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith?" Matthew 8:26. So we can see we must substitute faith for fear. Okay, I used to substitute teach. I talk about this in a lot of episodes. I used to teach. I think it's applicable and relatable to a lot of these concepts here. We must substitute faith for fear. If the real teacher was present, and a substitute came in, all the kids used to mess around. We used to fuck off, and we used to just like not take it so seriously. It's the same thing here. What if fear was the main teacher, the main one, and there was a substitute, and the substitute was faith that came in, but we used to play around, diddle around with, mess around with faith. We used to not take it as seriously. Oh, we took fear seriously. That's the real teacher. Oh, yeah, she was the one, he was the one, could really get you in trouble. The real teacher was not the one that you wanted calling home to your parents or calling the principal in, because they meant business and they could do something about it more than what the substitute teacher could do. Oh, yeah. Oh, will you substitute? You're gonna get me in trouble. You don't know. And so we used to like mess around with that, like totally mess around with the substitute. But this says substitute. We must substitute faith for fear. Whoa. Whoa. We must substitute faith for fear, which means we must take faith as seriously as we took fear, but we didn't realize fear was like in the main place, the main driver, the main space holder and space keeper in our lives was fear. No wonder we were worrying. And when we'd wish, we'd be like, oh, I wish I couldn't worry. Is that a wish? And oftentimes we treat God like genie in a bottle. But if it's man's only enemy, hello, substitute faith for fear. For fear is only, get this, inverted faith. Fear is only inverted faith. It is faith in evil instead of good. Holy balls, Batman. I'm going to say that again. Fear is only inverted faith. It is faith in evil instead of good. My mind was fucking blown when I read that, when I heard that, when I meditated in that, when I contemplated that, when I sat with that, whatever you want to call it, the thing that you do when you're like, whoa. that hit me. Fear is inverted faith. It is faith in evil instead of good. And so when I was happily making my coffee this morning and I saw those words, fear over faith, what I envisioned, what I saw was a cute little Etsy thing. It was a capital F and then AITH. That's how you spell faith, right? And then a line underlined. And below the underline, right? It's almost like metaphorical for like below, going in the pits of hell and the underworld, were the letters lowercase f, E, A, R. And I don't know why I felt called to write that out because I know what it looks like and I saw it in my mind. But sometimes when we write things out, we have a different experience, expression, and connection with them. So I invite you to do that. I invite you to grab a pen, grab a paper. I just did it on like the side of a little sticky note. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be perfect. But write capital F, AITH. And then draw a pretty little line underneath all of the letters. And underneath that little line, write lowercase FEAR, faith over fear. Have you ever seen those, what are they called, anagrams or whatever they're called? And they're like, figure this out. And it's like those weird letters and things, and they like mean something. And it's like, oh, that means faith over fear. And you're like, oh, I get it. So what I started to see was the capital F is obviously bigger. It's more dominant, if you will, than the lowercase f. It's bigger. Faith is what got the big F. Fear, below it, got the little f. Let's stick with faith for a second. It's got the big dominant expression, the big F. The letters alone, some of them are the same. They both have an F. They both have an A. But faith has more letters. And the word more stuck out to me. There are 5 letters instead of 4. So there's more instead of less. So faith has more letters, more power, more strength, more ability. And it's on top. It's above. It's on top. It's above. It has risen up. Just like God rose out of the tomb. He is risen. We sing that on Easter. Easter's coming up. He is risen. And we're going to sing those songs about that. And I'm like, whoa, faith has risen above fear. And then the line stuck out to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like heaven. Heaven is above hell. So the faith is above the fear. It is risen up. And then the line, I'm like, oh, that's like earth. Like when you die, you go in the ground, but your soul doesn't, your spirit doesn't. So don't worry about it as long as you believe in God. And so I thought, oh, look at little fear. Fear is below. It's got a tiny little F. It only has 4 letters. It's weaker. It's smaller in letters. It's weaker. It's smaller in letters. It's smaller in power. It's lower than faith. And so when I was looking at the 4 little letters in the word fear, I thought, it's weaker, it's smaller, it's lower, it's below, it's meek, it's insignificant. And I just imagine fear looking up at faith, and it starts with a lowercase f, and it's looking up at the letters in faith, and it's looking at the big F, and it's just a tiny little f, and it's like, oh, I want to be big and powerful like you. And it's looking up at faith, like fear looking up at faith with jealousy, with envy, with greed, because fear wants faith's position. Fear wants to be where faith is. I'm like, isn't that like the enemy? Like the devil? The devil is envious and jealous of God's position of power and where he is and what he has the ability to do. If you've read the Bible at all, you understand that Satan is a fallen angel and he's got his own army. God's got an army, Satan's got an army, and I'm looking at this fear over faith on my paper. I'm like, that's the enemy's army. They're weak. They're insignificant. They're not as powerful and they're not as strong. They're below when they desire to be above, but faith above fear. They're just incomparable. And I thought, whoa, that's faith over fear. And then that made so much more sense. And then I read that verse again, Matthew 8:26. When Jesus Christ said, when JC, it sounds like one of the NSYNC boys or Backstreet Boys or something, JC, like when JC said, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? But look at this. Faith isn't little. Faith is the one with the big capital F. And it's got more letters. Fear is the little one. It's got the lowercase f. It's below the line. It's got less letters. Oh my gosh. It's us that's been looking at it the wrong way. Faith over fear. Why are ye so fearful, O ye of little faith? I'm like, whoa, faith isn't the little one, and it shouldn't be the little one. It should be the big one, the one on top, the one with the big F. It's us that's been viewing it wrong, but when I wrote it out, I started viewing it correctly. I started viewing it for what it actually is instead of what it's not. And I thought, oh my God, the game of life is, I'm seeing it differently. I am seeing this differently. The object of the game of life is to see clearly one's good and to obliterate, like, annihilate, obliterate all mental pictures of evil. Whew. When I wrote this out, I saw it for all of that. I saw it as the picture. And its picture, I'm not a very good artist as far as like drawing things, but I love being an artist with my words. Because our words create pictures. They create mental pictures. And so often we get stuck with the words in our head that hurt us, that keep us in a fear-based mental state. And this came to me this morning, and I had to share this because it was powerful. It was amazing. And this goes on to talk about impressing the subconscious mind with the realization of good. I just love what I do. I love it. I love it. I love it because I get to work with people to connect with them, to transform their internal and unconscious beliefs. And often things come through me. And when they come through me, they're for me. And I know that they're for you too. And they're for your good. Because I've been in this space of being on this path of changing things from quote unquote bad to good. And it does include the way we use our words, and our words create mental pictures and images. And it does really involve deeply grounding into concepts like this, like having faith over fear and seeing things this way. And sometimes when we visualize and we draw out our visualizations, we can see this. Your only enemy is fear. And you can call it Satan, devil. You can read the Bible and like get all into that. And I have, and some of it, I'm like, I don't get this. This doesn't make sense to me. But things like this make sense to me. If our only enemy is fear, guess what the enemy wants you to do? He wants you to doubt and he wants you to fear. In the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve, right? They're strolling around in the beautiful garden in Eden, loving and living life. The enemy doesn't come in and blatantly say that God was lying. He planted a seed of doubt in Eve's mind. The enemy took God's words and slightly changed the tone of them. And he implied doubt, and he got Eve to doubt the truth, which dwindled her faith in what God said and put her faith in what the enemy said. And then she took a bite of the apple. Hello, thank you for a broken world. Thank you for all the sin and all the brokenness. That's where it began. It began with a seed of doubt. That is how the enemy gets into your head, into your heart, and into your life through seeds of doubt, through fear. Right after that, boom, covered up the nips and all the privates with the little fig leaves because they covered up their nakedness and they experienced shame and they were afraid. Hello. They're afraid. They experience fear. The Bible says 365 times in it, thou shalt not fear, or some version of that, do not be afraid. 365 times. Hello, how many days are there in a year? Every day, God wants us to know we should not be afraid. We should not be putting our faith in fear. We should have faith over fear. Fear is only inverted faith. It's faith in evil instead of good. When you start putting your faith in the good things that God has done for us and the good things he has for you and who he is and what he's already done, and in his son Jesus, that he died on the cross, he shed his blood, and he rose again, and he's sitting at the throne of God, and he invites you to experience that too if you have faith in him, if you don't fear him. And for so long I feared God because I was living with so much shame. I was like, you don't want me. You don't love me. You don't accept me. I can't come to you. I'm too fucked up. I'm too broken. I'm too messed up. With the things that I've done, there's no hope. Those things can't be undone. I'm not stupid. And then I felt like when bad things were happening to me, it was karma. I was paying the price for my sin. And I thought I had to live my entire life paying that price. And then I woke up and I read the Bible and I'm like, oh, Jesus paid that price for me. When he took all my sin, all my shame, and it was nailed to the cross. And he did that for all of us, for all mankind and for all time. Every single one of us. He did it for me. He did it for you. He did it for your children. He did it for your children's children. He did it for us all so that we can live in faith and have faith over fear. I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I want for you what I've experienced for me, because it is available for you too, but only through having faith in Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and having faith over fear. So I love you. I hope you've received this. And if you haven't yet, but you're like, ooh, I want more of this, I invite you to invite him in. So take a deep breath in. If it's safe to, close your eyes and say with me, Jesus Christ, come into my life. I hear you knocking, the doors open. Come on in. Amen. I love you guys. You can find out more in other episodes. You can find out more about possibly working privately or connecting and going through one of my programs or courses at sarahpicaro.com. Sending you so much love. Bye for now.